So, the first and only time was a mistake. It was wrong of me. My heart was pounding and I should have known better. The signs had been there all along. Or maybe it wasn't a mistake. Maybe I knew exactly what I was doing. Either way, it had been a mistake. I definitely hadn't expected the outcome. I definitely hadn't meant to pour the cereal before the powdered milk. But in my defense, a friend had made it seem like a good idea. So peer pressure is something that we're all aware of, especially because it often comes with negative connotations. What if it has a very credible basis? What if it's not such a bad thing? In the 1950s, the now sometimes controversial conformity experiment was conducted by social psychologist Solomon Asch, testing a group of volunteer participants. Each one was supposed to decide on which line was similar to which, kind of like in optical illusions. Except this one, the answer was painfully obvious. Unknown to the actual participants, majority of the others were actors who were in on this whole thing, and they had to pick the wrong answer intentionally. But to make this even more interesting, the real participants had to give their answer last. There were 18 trials in all, and you wouldn't believe the results. A whopping 12 got the answer wrong, even when they claimed they actually knew what the right answer was. Upon the completion, when asked, the real participants said they simply feared being ridiculed and being the odd one out. Now, if we go by the theories of evolution, being a part of the tribe is super important. I mean, it didn't only stroke our fragile egos, but it was very necessary for literal survival. Getting ostracized from the group for being too different meant possibly being at the mercy of predators, human or otherwise. But also we're social creatures, extroverts, introverts, or everything else in between. We mostly learn by imitation, even children, for example. Observation is a key tool, and I will admit is something I personally use as one of my major ways to learn. So it's not entirely far-fetched to want to follow the path of least resistance, the path that everyone else seems to be on. And fortunately or unfortunately, with social media, many groups abound, and it's very easy to fall into the black hole of the echo chamber. Anyway, the digital space and its lack of nuances can be a separate topic in itself, but my main point here is how easy it is to fall into groupthink, regardless of reasoning or simply what we don't even really believe in. I think that even though going with the group must have been what was safe and maybe is still what is safe, it's really important to think things through. And I'm not saying to be contrarian just for the sake of it, but because you actually have a point or you have a different stance. Thankfully, the fact that a handful of the participants didn't conform is a good sign that it is not impossible to break out of a wrong groupthink. What I probably found the most interesting is how this doesn't necessarily end with teenagehood like most people think. I know that peer pressure is something that comes up, especially when students are going to school, but this can also work in adults, young and old. Peer pressure from younger people is what a lot of research seems to focus on, which for good reason. I mean, teenagers don't really have their frontal lobe fully developed, even young adults as well. But I think it's important for adults to keep tabs on this as well. And I think from having personal values and growing a curiosity mindset that helps us have a mind of our own, maybe what's more important is simply being mindful of the company we keep. Alright, thank you so much for watching. My name is Ojuolape. I'm a medical doctor and creative living in Nigeria who loves to explore human behavior through my work and art. Please subscribe if you haven't and click on the bell to stay notified. Also, these videos are usually visual representations of my newsletters, so you can check that out. Please let me know what you think about this topic in the comment section. I'd really love to hear what your thoughts are, and I will meet you there.